This will be my spoiler-free review for The Foundation by Isaac Asimov. Now, was it a good book? Of course, it was a good book. Even though I do find it hard to give it a star rating, I'm going to tell you it is a good book. Obviously, it's really good. But the enjoyment level is something where I'm conflicted about. I really did enjoy it, but a lot of things happened. And I'll talk about it now, spoiler-free. But did I laugh every time they said the word weenus? Yes, I did. The Foundation by Isaac Asimov. I love this book, but also I'm very confused. I'm very conflicted. I loved the concept of this book. A lot of it did go over my head, I will admit that. And I had to watch some explained videos courtesy of Quinn's Ideas. I really just loved The Foundation, but also in a sense, the characters, they were not connected other than Hari Seldon, who was there in the first book. When I say book, I really mean the sections that the first Foundation book was divided into, which was 5 parts, and did not appear. Kind of confused me. And I loved Gao. Gao was a character in the first part, and I didn't see him once after that, which is a bummer. Because if you did not know, this book spans around 200 years. I thought Dune, 2 years. That was crazy for me. This had 200 years, and they had multiple different characters, had legacies, especially Hardin, Gao was barely mentioned, and Malo and Seldon. And it kind of follows Hari Seldon, which is the genius, who I really love this genius. He's kind of like a mathematician, and he predicted the world is going to fall, and the Foundation is what he's doing to prevent that from falling, or not prevent it from falling, but kind of shorten the gap between the empires. This book kind of explores the idea of the Galactic Empire, which obviously is a thing you see in Star Wars and even kind of Dune with the houses and it doesn't state as an empire in Dune, but it is like kind of an empire with the emperor, But wow, this had so much influence. Walking into this book and seeing influence there. This is where this idea came from. This is where this idea came from. And I really want to do a video on how much this is influenced once I finish at least the first trilogy. Now, yeah, again, 200 years, insane. So you're following this legacy of the Foundation through Hari Seldon, kind of through Hardin and Malo, and there's 5 parts and they're all spread out. I didn't see a lot of action in this book. If you're looking for action, Foundation is not the way to go. I'm going to just be upfront with it. It's idea heavy, and Dune had some action scenes. Dune had fight scenes, but it wasn't focused on this. This is almost political, religious, and exploring. I'm pretty sure this is the first interstellar, space science fiction. I think this is the first one. I mean, I know Frankenstein was before this, but it's not space, But I really feel wow, going into this, I thought Dune had influenced so much, which it has, of course, but this has influenced so much more. And I'm this thing was beautiful. Isaac Asimov is a true genius, and that's what I love about it. I love that, but a lot of it was confusing, even more so than Dune. I found Dune to be just kind of come to me easily, but this one, I did have to do some research and look up things, because I'm going to admit it, there was things I didn't understand. At first, I didn't understand. I had to reread it again a couple times just to understand it, but once I did, I really did enjoy it. Now, why I find it hard to give it a star rating is because characters is really what makes a book flow. And I feel like this thing was one of the weakest on characters. I don't know if that's an unpopular opinion or not. I have not yet watched many other reviews for this book. So that's what I'm trying to do with reviews. I try to keep it as blank slate as possible, so it's as much my ideas. So I will watch reviews after I've filmed my review so I can get my thoughts out. But I won't try to change my review because of what someone else said, even if they do make up good points. But this is my favorite thing. But I think having so many eras did not connect you to the characters. I did not feel anything for Hardin. I did not care. Malo, I kind of liked Malo. But the only exception would be Gao and Hari Seldon. I think when the book started, the first part of the Foundation, which is first 50 pages, was amazing. I loved Gao. I just loved the fact that he's hired by Hari Seldon. And now, basically, he's going to come in. It's been a long time. I've never read a book that's this long. And it really shocked me, but also I really think it was a great choice. I've never seen any kind of books that are that spread out, but I really do think it worked in the favor because it's not the story of really one person. I mean, maybe you can argue it is Harry Seldon's story, at least for this, but he is in it only in holograms, trying to be spoiler free. Just the whole mathematician part was really cool. Just like, And then Trantor, which is like the home of the Foundation. Super cool. And I'm like, science. This is science fiction at its hardcore. If you're looking for some beautiful, beautiful original science fiction, I've never seen something. Again, in the same sense, I've never seen something done like this, but also I can see something that copies it. Like the modern science fiction, I feel like I much prefer modern science fiction. I much prefer classic science fiction to modern science fiction, you say, even though I do love some modern science fiction stories like Project Hail Mary, but I really think science fiction at its core should be exploring themes and ideas, and Dune and Asimov and other science fiction classics do that really well, and I feel like it's beautiful. Like, it's like, this is like, the classic science fiction is my favorite, and I will be diving more into classic science fiction. And this is Sci-Fi September, and I really love the Foundation. I will be continuing with Foundation and Empire I will be continuing Foundation and Empire in October, and I really do love this. And the thing is, like, again, the characters, I didn't connect to any of them, so I really didn't feel connected to the story, even though I thought it was a great novel. I just like, this is how sci-fi should be. I think now that I have literally a foundation of what science fiction is, I feel like I will have a better view on science fiction in the future when I go on. And I'm so glad I read this. I am happy I read this. I have no regrets whatsoever for reading this, even though it wasn't really the most gripping. And at no point I was like, I need to know what happens next. Because again, very little action in this book, which I feel like for like the non-war lovers, I like fight scenes. I don't know, maybe because I'm just like, I like the flashiness, but that's my opinion. I just feel like this is a great book for what it has to say. And even more so than Dune, it's technology driven, the Galactic Empire. That's just like the whole theme of that is really cool. And yeah, so all of the characters are not cooking. They won't grab you, with exception of some. I liked some, but like, I thought it was just so explored. It was like exploring. He was like going in every nook and cranny, seeing what I can do, and the politics and like the religion. It's everything I've learned in science fiction, like everything that Star Wars has taught me, because that was my only experience with science fiction. And now I can see, oh, this is not original. Like Star Wars is really just a mishmash of all the science fiction, which is like a love letter to all science fiction. And I loved this book for that, but I find it hard to give it a star rating, if you do know what I mean. I'm not going to give it, oh, this is a 4 out of 5. Like, I'm not going to do that, because I'm not going to say it's not a 5 out of 5 because it's a beautiful book. And I'm also I don't feel right to put it as 5 out of 5 because there is things I have trouble with. And I don't know. I could give it a 4.5, make a compromise, but it still doesn't feel right. So I'm just not going to give it. And these are my full thoughts on it, even though I did love it. I read it in 2 days, and it's a short book. I really do recommend you reading it if you want to know where sci-fi came from. I'm not going to say you're going to be obsessed with it, though you may. And I feel like I do want to give it a reread someday and see what I can get out of it, because I know I didn't get all of it. Reading Dune, that was my favorite book of all time previously, and now I look through it, I got so much more. So I feel like if I read it again, I will get so much more, even though we'll be continuing on with the trilogy, and we'll see from there. But I do really, really love this Foundation, and I know it has places to go because it was very unended. And yeah, that was my spoiler-free review for Isaac Asimov's The Foundation. Again, this is the first one. I know it's holding up the whole trilogy because that's the book I read out of, but this is only a review for the first book. So that was my review. So see you guys in the next video. Peace.